Hi and welcome to the Empowered Lifestyle Platform. My name is Kirsty. Now, this video is all about the fundamentals of a successful presentation. There are many ways that you can present. Ultimately, it comes down to 5 points that make up a successful presentation. That is the timing and the trends, the company, the products, leverage, and timing. So, there are many different ways you can do that, and we've got lots of great documents, lots of different formats. However, the most important part of a presentation is not the content. It's not the great slides. It's not, sitting there with all the knowledge. It's actually what happens before the presentation, and that's what this video is all about. Our business is about relationships. So presenting has to be all about deepening into a relationship. So there are kind of 4 stages to a presentation. The first stage is what we would call relaxing and relating, building rapport, finding commonalities. And this is a really important stage. We don't just sit down with someone and start showing them how much we know. People actually don't care about how much you know. They want to know how much you care. So before you even move into that phase of finding out what that person is looking for, the first part is just relax. Ask sort of how they're going, find commonalities. If it's someone you don't know that well, ask the right questions, listen. We've got 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you talk, and really just sort of relax. There's some great skills that you can look up about body language, building rapport, mirroring someone. So, a really easy place to start is if someone is quite a slow talker, they're quite softly spoken, the last thing you're going to do is come in quite loud and animated, and you're going to be out of rapport with that person. So, really noticing to get in rapport with someone is a whole skill in itself. So over time, I suggest you really study that skill and practice that skill. So first step, relax and relate, find commonalities, and then you move into the second part, which is what we would call drawing the pain, or finding a need and disturbing their kind of current reality of where life is taking them. So this part is about, again, asking the right questions. And there's several ways you can do that. Some people might just simply say, hey, before I get into the details about Prism.io, or before I get into the details about my business, can I just ask you, if there were 2 doors, door A and door B, door A being more money and door B being more time, which door would you pick? And you have a bit of fun with this. And if the person says, oh, door A, more money, then you're going to say, tell me more about that. What would you do? What kind of money are you talking about? A few $1,000s a month? Tens of thousands of dollars a month? And they say tens of thousands of dollars a month. Have a bit of a giggle about that. It's all a bit uncomfortable. People are not used to sharing their dreams, but they love it. People love to talk about themselves. So your job is to really ask the right question, listen, reflect back. Tell me more about that. What would you do with an extra $10,000 a month? Oh, I'd take the kids traveling. Oh my gosh, where would you go? What's on your bucket list? So with the right questions in the right direction, you're starting to draw that person's, wish list. You're starting to find out what are this person's dreams, and you're also starting to disturb them by sort of bringing to attention that what they're currently doing may not have the capacity to get them there. Another thing that I do is, in terms of drawing the pain, is I say, before we get into the details, there's one of the reasons that I took a look at this vehicle is I was just looking to really live life on my own terms, and really looking for a way that, I could retire early or have a bit of freedom. So by sharing a little bit about my own story, and then not long, then I turn it around and say, can I just ask you, if you could wave a magic wand and create a situation where you had an extra $5,000-$10,000 a month coming in and you didn't have to work for it, what would you do? And you have a play with this, and you're just really, again, asking the right questions. What's on your bucket list? What's the end in mind for you? What's the end game for you? If you could retire in the next 5 years, what would you be doing? rather than working. So it's just, you can choose, depending on the person you're talking to, what kind of questions you ask. But this is really about finding out a little bit more about what's on that person's wish list, and what's their potential pain. What are they doing right now, and where is that likely to get them? But a tip on that, what I've found is that if you were to say, oh, I know how busy you are, you probably don't have time to spend time with the kids. If you do it in that way, people are going to be defensive. It's better to say, you're obviously really successful at what you're doing. You've probably got things sorted, but, just as a sort of a game, what would you do if you had a bit more free time and a bit more money? So by building people up rather than building them down, they're not going to be defensive. They're going to be more likely to share with you their wish lists. The third part, now that you've drawn, the pain, you've found the need, you've identified a problem, you provide the solution. And a really good way to start with that solution is, again, sharing a bit of your story. Well, let me show you why I'm so excited. When I took a look at this, a little bit like you, I was looking for more time, struggling in my job, not having enough time to spend with my kids. Whatever your story is that links in a bit to their pain, to what they are looking for. Because remember, this third part is about offering the solution. Let me show you why I'm so excited, and let me show you why I believe this vehicle, has the capacity to give you that time freedom that you're looking for. And then you go into the presentation itself. Like I said, if you're really advanced and if the situation serves it, you can go into a 5-point presentation. You might have some slides that you go through. You might do a napkin presentation, which at the end of the day is just saying, these are the income potentials of building a subscription-based business. This is the timing, this is where we are, this is where we're going. We're right here at the ground floor. Do you see why I'm so excited? It could be as simple as that. The fourth part of the presentation is really that clear next step. If you've just done a napkin presentation, that clear next step is going to be getting them to meet with your upline on a 3-way Zoom. It's going to be plugging them into a live Zoom presentation. It might be sending them a video with more details. So that clear next step would be like booking in the next follow-up meeting. If you've done a 5-point presentation and it's quite thorough, the clear next step is jumping on board. Would you like to join us in the team? Showing the clear next step, which is become a member, invest in a business kit, get on board, get trained, plug into a proven business system. There's nothing to lose. There's everything to gain. We'd love you to join the team. So those are the 4 steps of a business presentation. Remember, the biggest skill to learn is not about the content. It's about how to relax and relate, build rapport, draw the pain, disturb, find the need, and then you're in a great position to be able to know what solution that person is looking for in their life. Everybody is looking for what we've got, but you're not going to offer the whole smorgasbord. You're going to offer what it is that they are looking for. So your job is to find it. And that's the best part of this business, is really building those relationships, finding out how we can serve, building a new friendship, and then leading that person on their own personal journey of success. Good luck.